You ever have one of those moments watching wrestling where you're just sitting there, completely frozen, mouth wide open, and the only thing you can think is, did that just happen? Because last night on Monday Night Raw, the WWE Universe got exactly that kind of moment. And if you blinked, if you so much as looked down at your phone for 1 second, you missed something that is going to change the landscape of Monday Night Raw forever. Something that nobody saw coming. Something that had the entire arena buzzing before the night was even halfway done. Welcome back to Wrestling Impact, the channel where we break it all down, bring you inside the moments that matter, and give you the full story behind what you're seeing on your screens every single week. I'm your host, and tonight we are talking about one of the most exciting announcements in recent Raw history. So if you are not subscribed yet, smash that subscribe button right now, because this is exactly the kind of content you do not want to miss. And trust me, by the end of this video, you are going to want to be here every single time we go live. Now let's set the scene. Music fades slightly, narrator voice intensifies, Monday Night Raw. The arena is packed. The energy is electric, the way it always is when the red brand fires on all cylinders. Fans are holding signs, chanting, living and breathing every single second of the show. And right in the middle of all of that noise and chaos and electricity, the music hits. And not just any music. The music that makes every single person in that building sit up just a little straighter in their seat. Adam Pearce walks out. Now if you've been watching WWE for any amount of time, you know what it means when Adam Pearce comes out with that purposeful walk and that serious look on his face. It means something is about to happen. Something official. Something that is going to matter. Because Adam Pearce doesn't come out to waste time. He doesn't come out to crack jokes or do a little dance. When Pearce walks through that curtain with authority, you better believe there is a reason, and you better be paying attention. The crowd quiets down just enough. There's this incredible moment of collective curiosity, thousands of people all wondering the exact same thing at the exact same time. What is he about to say? What is happening? Is this good news or bad news? Is somebody getting fired? Is somebody getting reinstated? Is there a new match being added to the card? And then Pearce reaches the ring, adjusts his microphone, looks out at the crowd with that signature intensity, and he says, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the energy was absolutely perfect. He says that Raw is always evolving. That this brand never sleeps, that the WWE Universe deserves the best, and that the Raw roster is always looking for the next great superstar to rise up and claim their spot. And then he drops it. He announces that Sol Ruca is officially, undeniably, and with the full backing of Raw management, the newest member of the Monday Night Raw roster. Pause for dramatic effect, the arena explodes. And look, if you weren't in that building, let me try to paint this picture for you. Because the reaction from that crowd tells you everything you need to know about how big this moment truly was. This wasn't polite applause. This wasn't a casual golf clap from people who kind of recognized the name. This was a real, genuine, walls of the arena shaking reaction from fans who have been watching Sol Ruca develop, who have seen what she's capable of, who have been waiting and hoping and genuinely rooting for this woman to get her opportunity on the biggest stage WWE has to offer. Because Sol Ruca is not just another name on a roster sheet. Sol Ruca is a phenomenon. Let me tell you why this moment matters so much, and why the people who really understand wrestling were absolutely losing their minds when Pearce made that announcement. Sol Ruca, and if you don't know her story, you are in for a treat, as one of those rare athletes who came into the wrestling world and immediately made everyone around her stop and stare. Not just because of her athletic ability, although that alone is enough to make your jaw drop, but because of the total package. The look, the charisma, the natural presence that you simply cannot teach somebody. Either you have it or you don't, and Sol Ruca has it in abundance. Her background in volleyball and her incredible athleticism translated to the wrestling world in a way that felt almost unfair to the rest of the division. You've seen the Soul Snatcher, that insane, almost physics-defying finishing move, and if you haven't, I need you to go find it right now, watch it, and then come back here because we have a lot more to talk about. That move alone launched her into a different stratosphere in terms of athleticism and women's wrestling. There are very few people on this planet who can do what Sol Ruca does physically inside that ring, and that is not hyperbole. That is just the truth. But here's the thing about Sol Ruca that I think sometimes gets lost in the conversation about her athleticism. She has grown. She has developed. She has put in the work, not just physically but in every single aspect of what it means to be a WWE superstar. Her presence on the microphone has gotten sharper. Her character work has gotten deeper and more confident. She walks to that ring like she belongs there, and increasingly, and this is the important part, the crowd walks with her. That's connection. That's star power. And Monday Night Raw just got a whole lot of it. Now let's talk about what this means for the Raw Women's Division, because that is where things get really, really interesting. The Raw Women's Division right now is loaded with talent. You've got established names who have been carrying this brand for years. You've got champions and former champions who are not going to simply move over and make room for the new kid. These are competitors, every single one of them, and they have worked too hard and sacrificed too much to just hand anything to anybody. Which means Sol Ruca is walking into a war zone. And honestly, that might be exactly what she needs. There's something that happens to athletes when they're thrown into the deep end, when the pressure is real and the stakes are high and there's nobody to carry them through. You find out very quickly who somebody truly is in those moments. You find out if the talent is real. You find out if the heart is there. You find out if this is just a person with a few highlights on social media or if this is a superstar in every sense of the word. My money, and I think a lot of yours too, is on Sol Ruca being exactly the kind of person who rises when the moment gets big. Now let's talk about the backstage reaction, because you know that in WWE, what happens in front of the cameras is only half the story. Behind those curtains, you've got locker rooms full of highly competitive, incredibly driven athletes who are all fighting for the same limited spots on the same television program. When someone new comes in, especially someone with this kind of buzz around them, it changes the dynamics. It shifts the calculations. It makes everyone in that locker room reassess their own position and their own plans. You can bet that when Adam Pearce walked back through that curtain after his announcement, every single woman on the Raw roster was already thinking the same thing. How does Sol Ruca affect me? Where does she fit? And is she competition I need to take seriously right now? The answer to that last question is absolutely yes. And the smarter veterans in that locker room already know it. Because here's what experience teaches you in this business. The talent that comes in without any fanfare, the one nobody's really watching, the one who sneaks up on you, that's not usually the one who changes things. It's the one who walks through the door with the crowd already cheering, with the momentum already building, with the brass already believing in them enough to make a big public announcement. That is the one you need to worry about. That is the one who can derail your plans and scramble your timeline and suddenly be in conversations you thought were going to be about you. Sol Ruca is that person right now. And the Raw Women's Division just got a lot more unpredictable. Think about the potential matchups. Think about the storylines that can be built around this. Think about the veteran who decides to take Sol Ruca under her wing, and whether that's genuine mentorship or a calculated move to keep a potential rival close. Think about the veteran who immediately sees Sol as a threat and decides to make a statement by trying to humble her early. Think about Sol Ruca navigating all of that political landscape while simultaneously trying to prove herself every time she steps between those ropes. That's compelling television, people. That's the kind of layered, evolving storytelling that makes you tune in every single week because you genuinely don't know what's coming next. And the crowd reaction we talked about earlier? That matters for exactly this reason. Promotions follow the crowd. Pushes follow the crowd. The people in power pay attention to those reactions, and Adam Pearce making this announcement the way he did formally, officially, treating it like the significant moment it is, tells you that WWE is prepared to invest in Sol Ruca's future on this brand. They're not bringing her up to be a body on the roster. They're bringing her up because they believe she can be something special. Now I want to take a moment to appreciate Adam Pearce in all of this, because sometimes the authority figures on these shows get overlooked, and I think Pearce doesn't always get the credit he deserves. The man has incredible presence. He can sell a moment just through his demeanor, through the way he carries himself, through the weight he puts into his words. When Pearce makes an announcement, it feels important. It feels like a real corporate decision that has consequences and gravity to it. And that's a skill. That's something that elevates the moment around him, including the moment he just created for Sol Ruca. A lesser authority figure delivers that same announcement and it's fine. It's informational. People nod and move on. Pearce delivers it and the crowd goes nuclear. That's the difference, and that's worth acknowledging. Now let's think about the weeks ahead, because this is where the story is really going to unfold. Sol Ruca's first real test on Raw is going to tell us a lot. Who does she face? How does she perform in front of that audience? Does she lean into the crowd's excitement and feed off of it, or does the magnitude of the moment tighten her up? These are the questions that will define the early chapter of her Raw story, and as fans, this is the stuff we live for. The debut match is always critical in wrestling. It's the first impression, the first data point, the first real conversation between a new superstar and the live audience in their new environment. You can have all the highlights and all the buzz and all the pre-match hype in the world, but nothing replaces what happens when the music hits, the crowd reacts, and you have to go out there and perform. Based on everything we've seen from Sol Ruca up to this point, I have full confidence that she is going to deliver. Not because it's going to be easy, nothing in that locker room is easy, but because she has shown repeatedly that she is at her best when the spotlight is brightest. Some people shrink in those moments. Sol Ruca expands. The Soul Snatcher is going to hit on Raw. It's going to hit in front of a crowd that is already invested, already excited, already predisposed to go absolutely crazy. And when it does, the reaction is going to be something that sends the clip viral, that gets people who don't even watch wrestling stopping to ask what they just saw, and that permanently cements Sol Ruca as a name that belongs in the conversation about the very best athletes on Monday Night Raw. That moment is coming. We don't know exactly when. We don't know exactly who. But it is coming, and when it does, we are going to be right here on Wrestling Impact to break it all down for you. Music starts to build again softly. Here's what I want to leave you with today, because I think there's something bigger here than just one announcement on one episode of Raw. What we witnessed last night is a reminder of why we love this business. It's a reminder of why we tune in every week even when we think we know what's going to happen, because sometimes, when we least expect it, something shifts. Something changes. A door opens for somebody who has been working their entire life for exactly this opportunity, and the whole world gets to witness that moment in real time. Sol Ruca has earned this. The years of training, the performances that made people stop and pay attention, the patience of waiting for the right moment, all of it has led to Adam Pearce standing in the middle of a Monday Night Raw ring and saying her name to the entire world. And this is just the beginning. The chapter that opens from this announcement is going to be one worth watching closely. Because Sol Ruca is not just joining a roster. She's coming to make a statement. She's coming to compete for the highest honors the Raw Women's division has to offer. And I genuinely believe that in the weeks and months ahead, we are going to look back at this moment and say that's where it all started. So stay locked in, people. Keep watching Raw, keep watching the Women's division, and absolutely keep watching Wrestling Impact, because we are not going to let a single moment pass without bringing it straight to you with all the context, all the analysis, and all the passion that this sport deserves. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It genuinely helps us reach more wrestling fans who want to be part of this conversation. Drop a comment down below and tell me, what are you most excited to see from Sol Ruca on Raw? Who do you want to see her face first? What story do you think WWE should tell with her? I read every single comment and I love hearing what this community thinks, so let's talk about it. And if you are not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a single video. We are here every week, breaking down the moments that matter, the stories that stick, and the wrestlers who are changing the game. This is Wrestling Impact. And Sol Ruca just officially made Monday Night Raw must-see television. We'll see you in the next one.